So the big question is this: how do you lose all the weight that you want and actually keep it off for the rest of your life, while trying to make sense of all the noise that comes from the weight loss industry? That is the question. And this podcast will give you the answers. G'day guys, and welcome to the next episode of the Weight Loss Secrets podcast. My name's Baron Grant and I'm super excited to have you on again today and be able to share some more tips and tricks to help you to lose all the weight you want and keep it off. That's the name of the game. So we're going to go through what's going to be helpful for you to make changes. Now, today is going to be a bit different to the other days. All the other days leading up to today has just been me talking to you about different topics and things like that. But today I've got a special guest on. So my friend Tara Seymour's jumped on, and she was a client of mine a few months ago, and I want you to hear from someone who has made an amazing transformation, literally an amazing transformation. This lady lost 19 kilos in around about 11 weeks. So for me, that's quite incredible. And she did it eating heaps of food and loving life. So I won't steal her thunder, but I want you to listen to her story. If you're watching on YouTube, you're going to be able to see me talk to her side by side, but if you're listening, you'll be able to just hear her. So have a listen to Tara as she tells her story. All right, well, I am super excited to be able to do a video with a lady who I worked with personally on my program, Tara. She's with us today. Hello, Tara.
Hello.
And everyone's a bit nervous doing these. This is the first time I've done it like this. And so for those that are listening on the podcast as opposed to watching, you'll actually notice that there's two of us on here. We won't have perfect sound, and we're doing it on Zoom and want to post it on YouTube. So it is what it is. And so it'll be clunky as we go through, as we do it the first time. And so thanks for being the guinea pig, Tara. I appreciate it.
That's okay.
But the reason I wanted to get Tara on today is, there's all the podcasts previous to today have been me talking about different topics, which is great. I think the content's good and I enjoy doing that. But I think it's important to show people who have actually made change. And yes, Tara did it on my program, but what I'm trying to teach through this podcast is that everybody can actually lose weight, no matter what you've tried in the past, no matter what you've done. So much is associated with your mindset and your choices, and you can 100% make the change that you want to make in your life. And Tara is testament to that. And we're going to go through her story. I'm excited for her to tell a little bit about where she started from, her journey on the program when she worked with me over a 9-week period, and where she's at now and what she's learned and what she's changed. Because Tara was one of those people who tried a number of things in the past. She'll talk about that as well. But why don't I stop talking and ask you a question, Tara? Maybe you can just kick us off and say a little bit about yourself, and maybe originally what led you to, I guess, doing something with me or trying to lose weight. What was happening in your life at that time?
Well, I'd been sort of up and down for the last few years in my weight. And probably 12 months, maybe 18 months before I contacted you, I was at a fairly good weight. And then I just went heavier and heavier and heavier. I had done my own sort of diet, which was basically eating vegetables and not very much. I remember talking to you about that. And it wasn't sustainable, but I did get to the weight, which was nice. But then after that, I just put it back on, and I probably got heavier than I'd ever been. And one of the things that really was a bit of a slap in the face, I guess, moment was I saw a photo of myself at my girls' netball presentation, and I was shocked. I think you see yourself in the mirror and, you just buy clothes that may be a little bit bigger and you don't really notice as much. But then you see a photo and I was just, oh, geez, I really need to do something about that. And I was feeling really unhealthy. Really unhealthy in general. So,
now, are you willing to share? Oh, sorry, I was going to say, are you willing to share how much weight, how heavy you got at that point of the photo, the infamous photo?
Yeah, I'd got up to 80 kilos. And 18 months previously, I was sitting at about 64, 65. That's when I was doing the, just eating vegetables, pretty much broccoli. And yeah, so within, and after I got to the weight, I got married. That was my goal back then. And then I just, went back to terrible habits, and yeah, I couldn't believe how big I got. And then I was so annoyed at myself for getting down to that weight and then getting back up to that weight. But what I'd done to get to that weight wasn't sustainable. I hadn't learnt any new habits, and I hadn't really changed my mindset around eating in general. So, I guess it was inevitable.
And so let me ask this. I work a lot with women. Like I would say, a huge percentage of the people that I work with are women, and I would say a lot of the time 40+ women. But in having those discussions, when people get overweight, it seems a similar type of experience of they just feel crappy about who they are. They don't feel comfortable going out, getting dressed. Were you in that sort of headspace as well?
Yeah, definitely. I was buying clothes that weren't what I wanted to buy. I have a fairly extensive wardrobe and I couldn't fit into anything. It was really depressing. So yeah, one of the main reasons behind doing it was I guess the instigation was probably the photo, but it was also around the fact that I couldn't fit into anything. I'd only got married, as I said, 18 months earlier, and I couldn't actually wear my rings.
Oh, wow.
Because they didn't fit anymore. So it was just, it was a lot of things, and it was just really sort of, I guess, disappointing. And yeah, it does do your head in.
Yeah, gotcha. And it's sort of almost all consuming. Would you say that you used to think about it every day?
Yeah. And especially when I was going anywhere, because I knew I wouldn't look as good as I had done not even that long earlier.
Yeah. And so what were some of the things that you tried in the past? Before we spoke, you'd obviously tried lots of things. And what did you try?
Well, I tried obviously my, eating vegetables, which
did
work,
that's right.
Not sustainable. I tried Jenny Craig before that quite a few years earlier, which also did work, but not sustainable because you can't just keep eating that food and it's not that great. I'd also tried shakes, which again did work. So things I'd tried previously had worked. They just didn't work long term.
Yeah. And that's a lot. I think I talk about that a lot because there's so much of that is you can't keep buying the shakes forever. You can't live off that stuff. You can't always have the meals delivered to your house. So you got to figure out how to do it right. Did you get to a point where you were like, I'm going to play on this game forever. I'm never going to actually lose all the weight I want and keep it off. Did you feel like that?
Yeah, I did, because nothing I had seen was giving me the information to be able to change the lifestyle, I guess. And that was why when I found you online, I thought, well, this is different to anything else. So it was worth a try. I remember thinking before I spoke to you, I was like, oh, it's, probably won't work. But I remember after speaking to you for the first time, I did get a lot of faith from you that it was all about lifestyle and choices, and I don't know, just it made sense. And then once I started it, the results, it just.
So let's talk about those results. So you worked with me over a 9-week period. You started at around about 80 kilos. What did you get down to?
I got down to 61.5, which was less than I'd been, 18 months previously, which was great.
Which is an amazing achievement, right? Amazing achievement. Now, you have to tell me how many crazy workouts you did in that 9 weeks.
I didn't do any crazy workouts. I did play indoor netball once, but that was right at the beginning. So I was still quite heavy and it was exhausting, but yeah, no workouts whatsoever.
Indoor netball's no good. I snapped my Achilles playing indoor netball. Never. But what about fasting and never eating all day and starving yourself? How much of that did you do?
No, I didn't do any of that either. I was actually eating more than I was previously. I was just eating better. So yeah.
Why do you think so? And that's what I always talk about. It's got to be sustainable eating. It's got to be consistent thing. And I think probably the most, besides your netball game, walking would have been it. Is that fair to say? That's what we focused on?
Yeah, focused on walking. I did a lot more walking than I had done previously ever. In fact, I'm quite, I sit down at a desk for my job. But yeah, I felt really good doing the walking, and it's easy. You just go for a walk.
Yeah. Don't need any fancy equipment or anything like that, that's for sure. But what did you find about the program that was, what I'm trying to ask is why did it work? Why do you think it worked compared to all these other things? And how have you been able to keep the weight off?
I think it was simple, but also complex, which is really weird. It was simple, but you gave me all the information I needed to know what I could and couldn't do. It was, it was like, you can do all this, You can eat as much of this as you want to, stay away from that. It was just, and it was easy to incorporate in my lifestyle because I've got kids, they eat a lot. So, but I was still able to prepare food for them as well as myself and eat. And it was easy, I guess. It wasn't, you don't have to buy, there's lots of other, weight loss things. You've got to buy all these special things and do all these weird stuff. And it's just, you can't do it. You can't do it, cooking all these weird recipes and so on. But, being able to just know what you should be eating and what you shouldn't be eating, which sounds simple, but it's not. Unless you're told exactly, what is good and what isn't, you just don't,
What were some of the things, if you can remember, and you might not, but if you can remember, what were some of the things maybe that you did learn that you're like, that's actually not great for me when I'm trying to lose weight, and I probably should avoid that, even though maybe you thought it was healthy before, even though it's healthy maybe, but it wasn't great for losing weight?
Brown rice, like that sort of thing. Carbs, obviously, but red meat. I was eating too much red meat.
Yeah.
So which I think is probably a common thing.
And go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I can't say I missed anything of the food because the food I was eating was so much healthier. I think the first week was probably the hardest. The second week was getting better. And by the third week, I felt so much better generally. Like just, I felt like I was, I don't know, less foggy. Like it wasn't just about the weight. It was about like the nutrients you were getting from the food was better all over for everything, your mind, your general health, and obviously the weight loss.
So can you notice a distinct difference in the way that you feel now to the way that you feel before you started with me?
Yes.
Okay. And yes. If you were to sum it up in a few words, what's different? How do you feel?
Different. Well, I feel healthier for starters. I feel a lot healthier. I feel like I've got more energy, a lot more energy. Definitely clearer.
Yep.
My
Love
mind is clearer. Yeah.
Yep. And were there any favorite meals on the program?
I like the soup, which a lot of people probably didn't like. I don't know, who knows? I really like the soup. I didn't blend it. I just kept it chunky. Yeah. So, and I like the fact that it was so flexible. Yeah. I asked you about, can I do this? Can I do that? And you're like, yeah, fine. You do what you need to do, because I am busy. I tried it quite a few of the breakfasts, and then I'm like, look, I just like to eat yogurt. I'm just going to eat yogurt. Like I'm sort of, it was, I'm busy in the morning, and it was just, that worked for me. Yeah. But I had a lot more fish than I used to eat, which I think is good. So that helps your brain as well, obviously.
Yeah. And I think that's a great point that you make. And sometimes people think they've got to stick to this rigid process. And I work with lots of people who are crazy busy. I work with heaps of mums who are crazy busy. I remember one lady said to me, she's like, Baron, all these recipes are great, but can I just have a berry smoothie in the morning? Is that okay? And I was like, yeah, knock yourself out. That's fine. And so you can choose a lot of the time the ones that you want to eat the most, go nuts, and you can have as much food as you want. And I think this is why I wanted to get you on, and a couple of other people as well, is because sometimes people think you've got to starve yourself to lose weight. You've got to eat tiny portions. You've got to take fancy pills. You've got to have all the fancy shakes, or you've got to have some stupid superfood. There's no superfoods. It's a lot of rubbish. You've got to have kale, and you've got to have who eats kale? I don't like it, but
I hate kale.
It tastes like crap. So yes, it's got great stuff in it, but we think that we've got to have, because some health guru says we've got to have this and this and this, that we've got to have all that crazy weird stuff. Where did you need to go to buy all your stuff, all your food?
Aldi, Coles, Woolies.
No fancy health food stores, right?
No, none of that. I was surprised at how much I could eat, including the protein. I ate a lot of chicken. I would eat, and I still do it. And, I still will lose weight if I do it. I'll eat an entire bowl of salad, like a salad that you would make for, your family almost. and chicken, like breast chicken in it, and I'll lose weight. It's
you can eat huge portions, right? That's the idea.
Yes, yeah.
And that's
so I wasn't hungry. I wasn't hungry.
Yeah. And
which was good.
I like that you did say the first week was a bit tougher, and 100% because your body is going into calorie deficit. And the thing I love about it, you're saying it, you're eating heaps of food, but you're in calorie deficit. So your body has to find the energy from somewhere. And so it uses your fat stores, and that's how we lose weight. I mean, it's not rocket science, but I love the fact that you were able to do it without counting calories, without any of the other nonsense, and just eat good food. And how sustainable do you feel the changes that you've made are for the rest of your life to stay a healthy range?
Well, I think it's really sustainable because now I know what I should be doing. And now that I've done it, I feel better for it. So yeah, I think it's really sustainable because it's just, it's good food.
Yeah.
And I'm now that I'm at the weight that, wanted to get to, I'm now doing things like, on the weekends, I'll have a few drinks. I'll eat pizza if I want to. And then during the week, I'll know what I have to do to, stay the weight. So it's just, you can't, I think you changed my mindset on this because I was still stuck in like, being a young'un where you can eat whatever you want and, you don't put on weight and that's just rubbish. And you're like, one of the things I really like about you is your honesty. You're like, look, when you're after a certain age, you just can't do that. You've got to eat well. Otherwise you'll put on weight. It's like, it's not rocket science. I'm like, yeah, okay. I've been in denial for years, I think. So it's,
Hey, I love that. And almost everybody that I talk to is in denial, to be really honest. And I do my best to shoot it straight. And just today we put I probably shouldn't say this, but we put a post on Facebook and someone got uppity straight away because on my little message, I said, you know what? It's not your thyroid. It's not hormones, because everyone tells me that it is. And then every single person loses weight as soon as they actually eat right. And someone gets on there and gets all uppity. Oh, I'll tell you what, it is about your thyroid. And I was like, well, you're not going to change because you're looking for things that are external, outside of your control. Yeah, excuses. And they actually, we know that a thyroid issue can only add on 5 to 10 pounds, which is what, 2.5 kilos? Like it's nothing. And so, but people that are heavily overweight try to blame that because it makes them feel a bit better. And I get that. But for me, it's about making long-term change, long-term success. And that we've got to be honest. If we're not honest, we go nowhere.
Yeah. I have thyroid issues and that wasn't an issue.
There you go. Beautiful. Excellent. Did you ever look at the phone though and saw my message or a voicemail come from me and go, oh, here we go? Did you ever do that?
Not really. I think I was very good with the food. I was very focused on eating well.
Yeah.
Did I walk as much as I should? Not every day. Did I drink as much water as I should? No, not every day. But I did try to do that, so I was never, I didn't feel guilty that, you were calling me and but I like that. I really like the support. So, and I remember one time I hadn't got back to you in a few days because I was just busy and I was still doing the right thing, but I was busy. And then you rang me up. So, it said, are you okay? What are you doing?
Are you eating McDonald's? If people don't talk to me, I think they're eating McDonald's.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't. I was good. I was really, I guess I said to you up front, I said, I'm motivated by results. If I get results, I'll keep going. And I did. I got results in the first week and then second week and the third week. Like it's just,
Yeah. And so, the results were awesome, right? And look at that. You did that without eating, drinking all the water that you meant to. You did it without getting all the steps. You were consistent, but that you still went down from 80 all the way down to 61.5, which I think you achieved just a week or two, a couple of weeks after you got off the program, right? So probably in about 11 weeks, you've gone down to like from 80 kilos to 61.5. That's insane, right? That is amazing results. And I talk to people sometimes and they want to have weight loss surgery and whatever else. But if you eat the right foods, you can lose just as fast as weight loss surgery and you don't have to cut your guts open. So I think that's a better option, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And so what would you say to other people, not so much about my program, but what would you say to other people who are sitting in the place that you were sitting in at, heavily overweight for their height and weight, height and age, because everyone's different, right? So it's for you felt pretty heavily overweight. So what would you say to those people based on how you felt then versus how you feel now, not about my program, but just about eating healthy in general? What would you say to them, to encourage them to make those changes?
It's worth it. It's worth it not only for your weight, but for your general health and well-being. So yeah, just do it. I think you've got to have the willpower. I don't know if that's the right word. You've got to really want it. You've got
Yeah.
to want it, because it does take, a little bit of time and a bit of, dedication. I was determined to do it in the time frame. So I think if you depends on your, you know, what you're like as a person. I was determined. I went to parties, did not drink, and ate very little. Like I ate salads, which is
Yeah.
very unusual for me. I don't remember me ever doing that, going to any party and not having alcohol. So, but I was determined to do it in the time frame.
Yeah.
So that's why. So I guess it depends on what you want to do. But if you can just eat better, you will feel better and you will lose weight. So,
Yeah. So let me ask this one question then. If you went to these parties and you didn't have any alcohol and you didn't have any of that stuff, do you regret going to those parties and not having alcohol?
no,
Because
no.
the impact is too great.
Yes, I had a good time anyway. I was at one of the parties. I was making the cocktails and stuff. I just wasn't drinking them. It's just it's quite fun to be the sober one sometimes.
Yeah. I've never had a drink in my life. And so for me, it's very easy to say, no, don't worry about it. You don't need it, right? But I know that some people, that's a bit of a stumbling block. They go, I can't go without a drink on the weekend. And I was like, well, you've got to decide what you want. You either want to have a drink on the weekend or you want to lose weight. You can't have both. And sometimes some people just lie in media, lie in advertising to say you can drink whatever you want and lose weight. It's just total bullcrap. If you take this fancy thing and drop it under your tongue, like it's a lot of rubbish. But is there anything else that you would, I guess, leave people with as a thought about how it feels to be healthy now?
Geez. How it feels to be healthy. I think in general, it just feels free as well. Like I feel freer to do anything I want to do. I feel like I'm a better parent. I'm a better, mother and better wife, probably, hopefully. It just, you feel a bit like a load has been, left behind, and that's not just in the weight, it's in everything.
Yeah.
It's
So when you last question, because I could talk to you for hours, but when you go out now, so that moment where you're getting dressed, get yourself ready before you go out, how is that different to what it was before?
Oh, I'm happier. I'm much happier doing it because I've got a choice. I've bought a few new outfits. Like I'm looking forward to going out because I know I can wear whatever I want. I've gone down to, I've bought size 10s, size 8s.
Good one,
So I look forward to it now much more than I did before.
I love it.
And
I am so grateful for you jumping on and chatting. I just think it's awesome. And I think it wasn't too clunky. I think we did okay. What do you reckon?
No, I think we did okay as well. I do want to say one of the things that on your program, and I know this is just generally weight loss, but one of the things that I really enjoyed was your quotes. You would have a lot of quotes and your little snippets on things. And I remember my favorite quote that I read because I just laughed.
I reckon I
laughed. Yeah, I think I told you which one it was at the time because it just made me laugh. Was I think we were halfway through the program and you're like, okay, so now you could reward yourself, maybe go to the movies or whatever, do something, and you're like, now remember you can have a reward, but you are not a dog. You don't get food rewards because you are not a dog. And I just laughed. I thought that is so true because lots of people do reward themselves with food.
Isn't it true?
It's so true. And I just thought that is so funny. And yes, we
don't reward yourself with food. You're not a dog. But it's true. And I think I always say to people, you've got to find a new reward system. That's our biggest problem in life, right? If we only ate when we were hungry, none of us would gain weight. It just wouldn't happen. We eat because we're grumpy, frustrated, sad, emotional, whatever, and celebrating. What do? We get a pizza, we get whatever else, we go out for a drink. That's what we do as human beings because that's what our culture is.
And I was doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was doing that.
but
Yeah.
we reward ourselves with food, and we need to stop that. And when we do that,
Yeah.
and food becomes fuel, and people get uppity about that. Food's not just fuel; we have to enjoy it. 100%. You can enjoy healthy food, and you feel better after you eat it. I'm not sure if you notice that as well, where when you're eating this clean food as opposed to a big bowl of spaghetti, or how do you feel immediately after?
Yeah. Not great. You feel like heavy and
Yeah.
bloated, and yeah.
But when you eat the clean stuff, you eat a huge amount.
It's refreshing.
You feel
Yeah.
awesome, and you don't
Yeah.
feel you don't have regret. When you hit McDonald's 10 minutes later, you always have regret.
Yeah,
So,
that was one of the big things, and that's why it's easier to do, I think, because you know that you feel better. Like it's just and it's tasty.
yeah. I have 100 questions, but we don't need to finish. But I do
Yeah.
want to ask one more. Before you started, what would be your go-to crap food?
Oh, chocolate and cheese. My biggest problem was I would be up late at night, and I think the heavier I got, the worse I got, because I was obviously a bit depressed about it all, and so I'd stay up late at night that I shouldn't do. I would drink red wine, and I would have cheese and crackers and dips, and and I would eat until there wasn't any there. Like it was ridiculous.
Love it, love it, love it. But that's not now. That doesn't happen anymore.
No, no, and it's still in the fridge. Like I still, I have people over, we'll do stuff, and I may have a couple if I'm entertaining now. But no, I don't do that at night, and I don't drink during the week. And which again, I think that's a bad habit. Drinking all the time is a bad habit in general.
Terrible.
So,
and I think that's a mindset shift more than anything. But sometimes these programs that come along and go, here's the food that you can never have, and put it away for a little while on a diet and then come back on. Well, it's going to not go bad. So it's changing this as much as changing what we're putting in our mouths, because now you're stronger here to go, well, it can be there, but I'm not a slave to that food anymore. And you're in control. And so I love it. I think you've done awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your story, Tara. You've done amazing. It was exciting to watch you lose so quickly throughout the process without any crazy stuff, no crazy shakes or workouts or anything like that. So thanks for sharing. And I hope that those that are on right now, it's, there's a little bit here that you can take away from, and maybe just have a little bit of belief that you can actually do it as well, because you certainly can.
You can. Yeah, anyone can do it.
Anyone can do it. Anyone can do it. So thanks, Tara. I'll let you go.
That's all right.
And thank you to everyone for having to listen today, and can't wait to get back to you guys again tomorrow with another story.
Yeah, should I show my figure a little bit?
Well done.
Close to the camera. Look. So there.
Good for you. I love it. Well played. I love it. You're in great shape, Tara. I love it. You're doing amazing. Keep going. Keep making good choices. Take care.
I will. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.